All right, Danielle, it's week 12 of the W Hoops podcast. It's August already, which is hard to believe. The season's going by quickly. And this was a really big week for the Fever. Had, since our last podcast, three games. They went on all three. They're on a four-game winning streak. Really good week for Indiana.
Yeah, very good. They're 4 games above 500 now. For the first time, I think in years is I think is what they said. But yeah, uh, a little bit of a lead now above that 7-8 seed contention, which is nice to have a little distance there. And just with a couple of losses this week, just 1.5 games behind second place, which is crazy.
Yeah, it really is. The standings are so bunched up. We're going to talk about that, I think, a little bit later in the podcast. But to begin with, they had the Sunday game against the Sky. There was probably everybody was talking about the talking heads and studio people were talking about this being Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese in their, preseason, thinking this would be, and neither one of them got to play. But the Fever had a relatively easy win on Sunday.
Yeah. It's it was a good game for Mitchell. She had, I think, 35 points, and pretty efficient too, 12 for 19, 7 threes on 10 attempts. So really good Mitchell game. And then KK Timpson played really well, as well. She got 22 minutes and had a career high 14 points, so that was fun to see.
Yeah, I think you're underselling Kelsey. I think that was a great game, even not
Yeah.
just a really good game. She was great, and man, just
And
she was on
six
fire.
assists.
Yeah, and that's one thing you've been talking about a lot this season is you feel like she's getting better as a passer,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think you're right. You nailed that on the head. But that was a great game by her. 35
Yeah.
points, six assists,
Very.
very efficient. I
Yeah.
mean, she dominated that game.
And that game was also great. I felt like it was the most normal Lexi had looked in a little while. She didn't have a ton of points. She had 7, but still, she just was looking confident and looking good out there. And then Bibby came in on the first day of her 7-day contract and uh, had no fear and was really good, contributed 8 points, 2 for 4 from three. So impact signing right away.
Yeah, I mean, she looked great, very comfortable out there, not if no fear. And that's what you want somebody coming off the bench, just to, have no fear. There was a player named Vinnie Johnson who played for the Detroit Pistons when Isaiah Thomas was on the team and they were winning championships. And they called him the microwave because he just came in and he could score in bunches.
Mm.
And Bibby feels a little bit like a microwave. She can just come in and give you two quick threes
Yeah.
and help swing a game just in a few
Yeah.
minutes, just a few minutes of playing time, she can have an impact. So great signing
Yeah. And she
by
has such a
Indiana.
quick release and a high release and yeah, she doesn't need a lot of space or time to get a shot off.
Yeah. I mean, I was amazed just watching her multiple times this week. It doesn't even seem like she gets her feet completely set all the
Yeah.
time, but she gets the ball quickly and she's shooting well. So yeah, um, she did great. Um, good game. Timpson's really getting better. That's what we were hoping. I think we talked about that some. She's clearly a developmental player,
Yeah.
but it looks like she's developing, getting more
Yeah.
confident.
And
And
I would say like major props to Steph White. She has been getting a fair bit of criticism this year, I feel like, but like Howard was just off in that Chicago game, and just wasn't looking good. And it seems like she gets a few stinkers and a few incredible games, and then most of the time she's pretty solid. But she was having a stinker, and they just went with Timpson instead of Howard. Howard played 12 minutes and Timpson played 22 minutes, and like I feel like you don't see that often with coaches where they're willing just to play a starter 12 minutes if they're having a bad game and go with a bench player. So,
That's a great point. I think you're 100% right on that. Most coaches will stick to their guns and not make changes. And yeah, that was a great move by Stephanie White and the coaching staff. They deserve a lot of props for that. And yeah, good win. It's nice to get it. Kelsey Mitchell was
yeah.
great.
Which
Timpson
I
was
had a
great.
that the Kelsey Mitchell game made me think, which Kelsey do you think is better, Mitchell or Plum?
Oh.
They're both good, and Plum gets more coverage, and she's been like on the USA teams and stuff, but sometimes it feels like there's just like once you're in those conversations and on those teams, you kind of just automatically are there. But Kelsey
Yeah.
Mitchell's underrated.
She is right now. I think Kelsey Mitchell's having a better season than Kelsey Plum right now.
Yeah.
Um, so who would I take? I don't know. You know, Kelsey Plum's also got a lot of bravado, a lot of
Yeah.
swagger, and
Yeah.
she's not afraid of taking big shots. There's a lot of great things, but both of them, I mean, very similar games.
Hmm.
Small, they're both small. They're both kind of
Very
defensive
quick.
liabilities, both very quick, both can shoot the three. But I mean, I would say Kelsey Mitchell's having a better season this year, and I would take 2025. I'd take Kelsey Mitchell over Kelsey 2025 Kelsey Plum.
Yeah.
So yeah, great win to start the week, and then Wednesday had the DeWanna Bonner homecoming of sorts, if
Yeah.
you will, and yeah, another good win with unbelievably high scoring game for an Indiana Fever team without Caitlin Clark, and
Mm.
with Aaliyah Boston having a bad first three quarters offensively, just
And Kelsey
incredible.
Mitchell having a bad game, period, scoring wise.
Yeah, to get 107 points in that game was pretty amazing.
Very. Yeah, everyone kind of stepped up. Aaliyah struggled early, and Kelsey didn't really ever find her shot, but she only took 10 shots, so it's not like she was just, you know, chucking up a bunch of terrible shots. So, yeah, everyone really contributed. Aari was incredible. It was really like um, yeah, a nice touch from Aari in a game where DeWanna Bonner is coming back and um, people are maybe a little bit upset about that, but really just a good statement game from Aari that Indiana's much better off with Aari than they were with DeWanna, and there's nothing really to be too upset about.
Yeah, you had a great tweet about that with the scene from Zootopia and
Yeah.
the mafia mouse or whatever kind of rodent he is, and that was very funny. But yeah, don't have to be too upset or feel too
No.
betrayed
But she got
because
booed, and rightfully
he,
so. And it's sports, and people get booed.
yeah, and it wasn't even that bad. I've heard
No,
much
it was
worse
nothing.
booing at IU games for
Yeah,
Purdue
yeah.
players. Like
Oh,
I've
of
seen
course.
college, young college players get booed much,
Right.
much
Who
more.
aren't
And
professionals and getting
ex
paid.
exactly. And so it was. I've seen high school players get booed worse than that. I mean, that was
It was
so
nothing.
minor, and they then I think Copper whined and complained about it after the game, which is
Yeah.
just not a good look. And Phoenix also didn't send the people they're supposed to the press conference after the game, and
Yeah,
it
because
was just
Alyssa Thomas led the scoring and she didn't go.
she should have like she's kind of contractually obligated to be at that press conference as
Yeah.
a leading scorer. So yeah, I was really glad, the Bonner and Thomas have taken the stink of the Connecticut sun and out to the desert in Phoenix. And
Yeah,
Phoenix to me is a very unlikable team,
they are.
and
It was very
you know,
nice. It's a very satisfying win for sure. And
very
just the way they did
satisfying.
it too, like we got off to a bad start actually, and I was like, oh no, because Alyssa Thomas is just a bit of a bully, and it's like, oh my gosh, is she just gonna get whatever she wants? And she scored a lot, but she had 8 turnovers to 7 assists, and 7 assists is low for her. She's averaging 9 on the season. So really good. Lexi was solid. Chloe Bibby came in and scored 10. Dantas had 12 off the bench. So just really good contributions from everyone. And then that fourth quarter, the first 2 minutes from Aaliyah Boston were just incredible. She was unstoppable. I don't know, did she have like 10 points in 2 or 3 minutes? It was
Something
crazy.
like that. Yeah, it was really a lot. She was great after struggling offensively the first three quarters. She really got going, and yeah, that was a very, I think you said it well, very satisfying win. That was
Yeah.
nice to beat them and get
And
contributions from a lot of players.
yeah, Colson as well. We didn't mention her, but she was 3 for 6 from the floor and had 8 points and 4 assists and 1 turnover. So she's done a really good job in her role this year and just coming in and providing leadership and calming things down and taking open shots and yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I've really been pleased with her, and I think she's done a great job in her role. She obviously maybe expected more, but bringing in Ari McDonald she's accepted it gracefully and, comes in and just contributes really well in her minutes when they need her. So yeah, great, satisfying win on Wednesday. And then last night on Friday, had the Wings here in Dallas, had to move it to America Airlines Center. So another, just a solid win. I only saw the first half. I don't know if you got a chance to watch the second half,
Yeah.
but yeah, balanced scoring again. It ended up
Yeah.
four players in double figures, I think, and Paige was really looking good in the first half from what I saw.
Yeah. And Paige
She looked really
had
good
no
for
help
Dallas,
from
but no,
anyone.
yeah, no help from anybody else.
Yeah, but Paige is still, yeah, playing very well, obviously. Her mid-range is just pretty much unguardable. So smooth. And she passed Courtney Williams back up. She's now again, Courtney had passed her for a little while as the leading mid-range shot maker, but she's surpassed her again. But yeah, really good game from Kelsey Mitchell. Kind of a nice bounce back win after a low scoring game. And then Aaliyah was solid. Howard was good. Sophie was good. Aari was good. Chloe again is coming in, and she's hit two threes in every game so far. So that's a big plus. Yeah, just solid win all around.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at this week, you've got 288 points, if my quick math here is right, in three games. So that's
Without Caitlin
over
Clark.
90 points a game, exactly, without
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark. I mean, so it's impressive. And I know you've talked quite a bit about, you feel like Coach White has done a good job on the defensive side with
Yeah.
Indiana. So if they can score, what is that's over 96 points a game or something this week without Caitlin, and against, yeah, I mean, arguably, the Mercury should be a good defensive team, right? I
Hmm.
mean, Dallas, I don't know. I mean, Dallas has
Yeah.
Enrique playing a lot of minutes, but they've got Dejanay and Page in the backcourt who are both good defenders. And, I mean, not terrible teams, but defensively. But yeah, I mean, that's something, just really interesting that they've been scoring a lot, even without Caitlin. They've kind of made some adjustments.
Hmm.
Picking up Chloe Bibby has helped. And yeah, four straight wins, four games over 500.
Yeah, and even
Really,
like in the Phoenix game, they pushed the lead out. Phoenix had come back and got it close again, but Kelsey Mitchell was in foul trouble, and Boston was maybe in foul trouble too, or just on the bench. And like they stretched the lead out with Mitchell and Boston on the bench against Phoenix in the third quarter. So yeah, it's been the defense, it's been the role players. It's been impressive, I think.
it really has. Great week for Indiana. Hopefully they can keep it up. We'll
Yeah.
talk a little bit later about the upcoming schedule. It's not looking great, but yeah, well, maybe we can go on to some news and notes around the league. And one thing, we wanted to talk about was just the lack of respect that Stewie gets.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
crazy.
she'd
She
been out
is
and now they've lost four straight games without her.
Yeah, she does not get the hype. And I think it might just be a little bit of fatigue because she literally won four straight national championships in college and, then came into the league, won pretty quickly once she got to the league, won again with Seattle, came out to New York and won last year. So I think there's a little bit that people are just maybe tired of talking about her. But I mean, she deserves it. She's so good. And yeah, you obviously see that New York is not at all the same team without her. And we were saying when Jonquel was out, they were worse, certainly, and lost. I think they had only lost either one game or no games before Jonquel went out. But then to lose every game since Stewie went out is quite different.
Yeah.
She's so good defensively. Even though her three has been pretty abysmal this year, she's just such a threat on offense and is a mismatch with anyone pretty much.
Yeah. Well, we've become Indiana Fever fans now, and so we're Team Caitlin, but even Indiana adjusted quicker to losing Caitlin than New York has adjusted to losing Stewie.
Yeah.
So I would still say Stewie's a better player and got to be top three. It's got to be Fee, Asia, and Stewie as the best three players in the world right now. And yeah, I
Yeah.
just wish she'd get more props because it feels like I haven't heard people talking about it. And
No, people want Alyssa Thomas. People are saying for MVP, it's Fee, Asia, and AT.
mhm.
It's Yeah, Alyssa gets, I mean, she's obviously very impactful, but like
Yeah.
she can't lift her shoulders above her arms, you know? Like she can't lift her arms up. She can't shoot a basketball normally.
Yeah, I
She's
mean, it's
not,
ama what she does with her physical limitations
yeah,
is phenomenal. I mean,
right.
let's admit it. She's
Oh,
she's a great
absolutely.
athlete and she has a great court awareness, court vision. I mean, it's amazing, but Stewie's a more impactful player. I'm sorry,
Of
it's not
course.
close. I
No, it's
mean,
not
it's just
close.
not close. And AT is not in the same universe as Stewie.
No,
Stewie has led teams to. AT is not good enough to be the best player on a championship team.
no.
She's
And you
just not.
saw it in Connecticut for however many years when
Right.
they were pretty loaded in
They
Connecticut
were
with her
very
for
loaded.
years. But they had John Quell, they had Bonner, they had Courtney
Courtney Williams,
Williams, they had Natisha
Tisha
Heideman on
Heidemann,
that team, they
who
had
are
Brianna
looking, who look great
January.
at Minnesota, right? As
Yeah,
role play. I mean, they're great role
yeah,
players at
yeah,
Minnesota. They're super contributors and they were loaded and
yeah.
they couldn't win a championship. So she's just not good enough to be,
No,
and she's great. Maybe if she didn't have her shoulder problems,
yeah,
she
of
could
course,
be a
yeah.
different player. But, with the reality of where she's at right now, she's not a top five player in the league, but
No,
she's a great player and
yeah,
has a great
absolutely.
impact on. But
Yeah, and I,
Stewie is in the it's Fee, Stewie, and Asia in some
mhm,
order, and
yeah,
I think there's a gap then after those
yeah.
three.
For sure. And especially like what her versatility on the defensive end, like she was guarding Caitlin against Indiana. Like Asia
Right,
could never do that.
right.
Um, so yeah, she does not get enough credit. But yeah, she's a two-time MVP, three-time WNBA champion, three-time three-time Olympian. Yeah, three-time Olympian, four-time national champion, four-time national or Final Four MVP.
Yeah,
So I mean, her
yeah,
resume certainly speaks for itself, but it would be nice to see her get a little more love. Yeah.
yeah. But with her out, it's been a real opportunity for the Lynx, and they've taken advantage of it. They've pushed
Hmm.
their lead up to their. Another thing I wanted to touch on was just now they're 5 games up in the loss column over New York with
Yeah.
just I want to say 16 games to go. I think for the
Yeah, they've played
Lynx.
28 games, so yeah.
And they're playing today. I think right now, as we're talking, I
Vegas,
think they're
yeah.
playing Vegas. But a 5 game lead with only 16 games to go.
Oh my, they're
eh,
killing Vegas right now.
Are they?
54 to 27.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. So, I mean,
Yeah.
Minnesota is pushing their lead out,
Yeah.
and New
It's
York's
gonna be hard.
struggling.
Yeah, it's gonna be
It's
hard to catch them. Even though Minnesota does have a tough stretch, but they play New York three more times in the next 2 weeks, and if Stewie's not there, that's just not the same. So
Yeah, they do have Miesemann joining, so we'll see
yeah.
how that impacts New York. But Miesemann's not on the Stewie level either. She's a
No.
great player, right? But not on the Stewie level. So
Right.
we'll see. But, I mean, New York would have to have a chance. They'd have to sweep all three of those games,
Yeah.
to have a chance. I
Add three
think.
losses to Minnesota and
Yeah,
not, yeah, they
game
basically have
three
to go
games,
undefeated. I don't know that Minnesota's picking up five more losses unless they give them three at least,
three.
you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
so
That's what I think. They have to give them three of those losses.
yeah.
So because if you go 1-2, you only gain one game in the loss column.
Hmm.
I mean, so you've got to gain
Exactly.
all three of those, I think, to otherwise Minnesota is sitting pretty for home court advantage.
Yeah.
They're what I had this pulled up here. I think they're 15-1 at home this year or
Yeah,
something.
they are.
So, if they get home court advantage, we kind of feel like this is the revenge tour. They deserve it after
They do.
having the championship stolen. Even though we're, you know, Indiana Fever fans, we feel like Minnesota deserves it this year, then Indiana can win next year. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I think that's another big news is that the Lynx have taken advantage of the injuries that New York has suffered and pushed that lead out to a pretty comfortable lead. And then
Hmm.
there's just a clump of teams
Yeah.
between second place now and what? Between second and eighth, there's only a 3 game difference in the loss column. So,
Hmm.
it's
And then even between second and 10th, it's only 5 games.
yeah.
So
So I mean, it's just yeah,
yeah.
it really,
And
really that's the big gap, right? I mean, Minnesota is separated from the pack, and hopefully they can hold on to that and get home court advantage. From our perspective, we'd like to see Fee get a championship.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think that it will lead to something else that we'll talk about in a few minutes on the schedule. But another, I think, news and notes. I don't, did we mention that Indiana signed Bibby for the rest of the season? I know we talked about it
Mhm.
earlier today, but not on the
No,
podcast
yeah.
yet.
So yeah,
Yeah.
they
So.
did one 7 day contract and then just and they you can do two 7 days, I think, but they went ahead and just put her on a rest of season contract and well deserved, certainly.
Yeah, 100%. She deserved it. She's played great for them this week, and hopefully she can keep it up. Yeah, great signing by the front
And
office
the
has done
depth
a
is
good
back.
job.
Yeah, they did. The depth, I feel we were a little worried about the depth last week, I think, but Chloe Bibby has certainly helped with that. And then, yeah, they just are very deep. And it's Stephanie White seems to be one of the better coaches I've seen at making rotation adjustments, like in game and
Mm,
going with the hot hand. Um, and yeah, if Kelsey Mitchell isn't having a great game, you can, play Aari or play. They've had minutes where they have Colson and McDonald in together. They can do Lexi and Sophie together on the floor. They just have a lot of options, and Bibby certainly helps that. And they have a lot of great offensive players, so you're not relying on one person. And when Caitlin comes in, that's gonna kind of take the pressure off of her that they can
yeah,
score 100 without her, so she can find her shot when she gets back, hopefully.
yeah. Well, one thing I don't think we had in the news and notes to discuss, but just thinking about the uh, different lineup mixtures that Indiana can use and has been using very effectively made me think about that Dallas New York game, which I don't remember exactly when it was, when the Dallas coach started a really small lineup
Hmm.
and they absolutely crushed New York. I mean, that game was shocking to
Yeah.
see. I mean, New York closed it. I think they got it down to single figures by towards the end of the game, but that game was just crazy to see the worst team in the league just putting a beat
Third
down on New
worst.
York.
Third worst.
Well, I mean, by record, they're
Oh, I mean, Connecticut's objectively worse.
okay. Connecticut's objectively worse. Chicago, yeah, Connecticut's worst team in the league. Fair. Page is too good for Connecticut to be better than Dallas. But Enrique's having such a bad season. But in that game, tip of the hat to Enrique. But she ended up with 14 or 15 assists.
15.
She had a
Crazy.
double double in the first half. I mean, give credit to,
Oh, so they did. They started Haley Jones. So they started Lisa, the German, Enrique,
yeah,
Paige, JJ, and Haley. So that's so short. Because
yeah, it was
Enrique's small,
incredibly short.
JJ's small, Haley's very undersized at the four.
Yeah, it was a very small lineup. And the announcers in that game even said New York had a big lineup in, and the announcer made a comment about which coach is going to make the adjustment first. And it was New York. They brought in Johannes for
Mm-hmm.
one of whoever was playing the four at that time because Stewie being out, I forget who started, and they went
Yeah, Isabel
small.
Harrison. Yeah, she
Yeah, they
only
think
played
they brought
17
in
minutes.
Yeah, they brought in Johannes to
Hmm.
pretty early in the first quarter because Dallas just was punking them. I mean, they were just I
Yeah.
mean, it was crazy. They were up 20 points in the first half. I mean,
Yeah.
they really put it to them. So that was a fun game just to
Yeah.
see Paige's team. But one thing, I guess part of why I wanted to mention that besides the lineup, the interesting thing about that small ball lineup is also just seeing Enrique get 15 assists. Paige, we've talked about this with Indiana some, with Caitlin Clark coming in being somebody who gets so many assists, passes the ball. We think it's had a trickle down effect,
Hmm.
that Kelsey Mitchell is passing better than we've ever seen her in her career. Aaliyah's a
Yeah,
great passer too.
she had a nice little behind the back yesterday.
Yeah. So I think you see a great passer come onto a team and it kind of impacts the team culture, And I think Paige is going to do that at Dallas. She's going to be a culture setter. And, it was just fun to see kind of a glimpse of what Dallas maybe could be potentially with Paige. So I guess the only other thing we had talked about for news, and we don't have a lot of thoughts on this, but the trade deadline's coming up this week, right?
Yeah, it's on August 7th. But with the current structure with the CBA coming up, almost no one is on more than just a 1 year contract past this year. So it seems unlikely that there will be a lot of trades, just because is it really worth making a trade, giving up assets for like a 2 month rental on someone, unless you're getting a rookie. But I think it's unlikely that we'll see that much movement. But the teams that you think might, consider it would be someone kind of like just under the top of the pack. So like would Atlanta, would Phoenix, would Seattle. But I don't know. Seattle could maybe use another guard. They are pretty good. Their bigs are pretty good. Like Lee Yuru wasn't getting minutes there because you have NECA, you have um, uh, Ezzy, you have Malonga, you have Alicia Clark coming in off the bench. Erica Wheeler's been having a great season. Gabby's been having a great season. Skylar has, but I don't know if Seattle looks to make a trade. But yeah, what could they give anyone? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what they could give either, and why anybody would want to give up, you know, unless they could get somebody on a rookie contract to give up
Mhm.
somebody on expiring, and
Right.
but why would Seattle do that?
Yeah.
Seattle is not going to win the championship this year, so
No.
they're likely to get the number two pick in the draft, because I think if I remember correctly, do they have
Do they have
Chicago's?
Chicago's or I don't know?
Or how does that? I forget. I just checked this the other day and now I'm not recalling, but
They got
it
away with
seems
murder
like
though in that
they
trade
got
this
away with
year.
murder in the trade, but
Let's
who has
see.
Chicago's right now?
No, Minnesota has Chicago's. Los Angeles. Oh, and so Los Angeles is doing a little better now, so that's actually going to
Yeah,
hurt
that's
Seattle.
okay. That's what it was. Los Angeles has really started clicking.
Yeah.
Azure's been playing really, really
So
well.
Minnesota's in great shape. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Minnesota. So I don't know, but Seattle, I don't know who you would trade that, like we saw on ESPN that somebody had said they should get Mabry, which Mabry
Yeah.
would probably help Seattle, but what are they
Probably.
going to give that Connecticut would want?
Right.
Mabry's, I'm assuming, on an expiring contract.
Right. They would have to give up picks, but like, why would you do that? Yeah.
Yeah, why would you give up picks or
If you're
so
Connecticut,
or
you're just in rebuild mode, so you need
yeah,
all your picks.
who would you give up? You're not going to give up Malonga. I mean, there's just no.
No.
I can't see anything. New York picked up Miesemann.
Yeah.
Phoenix got Bonner. I just don't see a lot of moves left for teams. So it's probably going to be an inactive trade deadline. I'll be
I would
surprised if
guess
there's a
so.
lot of activity.
Yeah.
Um, so what were they thinking this week? I've got a two for one that I wanted to talk about. It's kind of the Clea Copper and her wig or whatever extensions, whatever it is that came off during that game. Kind of was a bit of a controversy. She ran off into the locker room, and I guess that Phoenix called a timeout to stop the game. But I did see a funny tweet where somebody said, you know, players play without shoes, but we stop the game for a wig or something like that. I mean, you don't stop the game for a vital piece of equipment. It was funny, but it wasn't quite accurate. They didn't stop the game for the wig.
Right.
Phoenix called a timeout, but I thought the tweet was still funny. Um, but yeah, I mean, so I don't understand what players are thinking wearing wigs or hair
I
extensions.
mean, I think they wear them in their normal life, so then what are they gonna do? Like not,
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at Courtney Williams and look at Natisha Heidelman. I mean,
Yeah, but it's
very
style.
functional hairdo, right?
Yeah, very.
For playing basketball, it's pretty functional. And,
Yeah.
I know it's style. I mean, I understand it. And
Yeah.
NFL players do it. I don't think NBA players tend to do it, but you'll see
Yeah.
NFL players with long
Yeah.
hair out of their helmets and stuff. So I
Right.
know it happens, but I mean, a little bit, what were you thinking? But even
But
bigger,
just more the whining. Yeah, it's the reaction.
the bigger, what were they thinking was the whining and complaining about the fan, Alyssa Thomas trying to get a fan kicked out of the
Yeah.
game. And I guess the
And
fan
it
did get
is
kicked out.
funny if someone's wig comes off, it's funny.
It is funny. You got to laugh at yourself,
I
right?
was at a play last weekend and one of the characters lost a wig and like recovered pretty nicely and like the crowd laughed about it and she like popped back up after she got it fixed and people clapped and like it's just a funny thing.
Yeah, if she had made it like there was probably an opportunity for Copper to make it a funny thing, and the
Right.
crowd would have laughed along with her, and it
Right.
would have been a good positive thing. Instead, it was like she was embarrassed or something. She ran into the locker room, like and it just became a bad look for the league. Like there's a lot of bad publicity, and of course, some people say there's no such thing as bad publicity; that all publicity is good. But I don't know. I just didn't think it was a great look for the league, and I don't understand. There's getting
Yeah,
a
getting
little
the
bit,
fan kicked out is crazy.
yeah, getting a fan
Unless,
kicked out.
well, unless they said something really bad.
I mean, yeah, we don't
But
know what was
laughing,
said. If it really was just laughing or making some funny remark that wasn't like super derogatory, right? It's just some funny remark about somebody losing their wig. Yeah, it was a bad look, I think. So I don't know. And Alyssa Thomas made other comments about things during the week and how,
yeah.
so it's just a bad look of you want,
Especially, we talked about this in our chat that it's like Copper and Alyssa Thomas complaining about like booing and stuff like that when they're kind of punks on the floor is a little
yeah,
bit hypocritical. Like they're stirring up stuff
yeah.
and, you know, which is fine. Like Copper's from Philly. I don't know where Thomas is from, but like they're tough, kind of, edgy players on the floor, but then pretty whiny about anything coming their way.
Philly sports fans are known to be really, really negative. Like they
Yeah.
will boo their own team if they're, I mean, Philly has a reputation for being pretty tough fans. So Copper, if she's from Philly, she should be used to it. I mean, there should be no whining and complaining about fans getting on you. They need to toughen up a little bit.
Yeah. I think, and it is like there's been a big change in the popularity, and that comes with more negativity. Like, when if you go back 5 or 10 years ago and you have smaller crowds, there are fewer crazies. There's also less social media than there is now. So,
Sure.
there's been increased negativity, and obviously that's not positive, but it does come with the territory, unfortunately.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's fair. It's unfortunate, but it's just a reality
Yeah.
of the territory. So then there was something else. What were they thinking from the Dallas game last night?
Oh, well, yeah. Haley Jones, they're just a terrible call. Haley Jones was defending a drive. I don't know if it was Howard or who it was, but she ends up falling down and is like out of bounds on the ground, completely out of the play. The shot goes up, play continues, and then like 5 seconds later, they call a foul on Haley on the ground, like 10 feet away from the action, and it was just crazy.
Yeah, that's like an all-timer. And we've talked quite a bit about WNBA officiating this year already, but wow. I mean, that whistle had to be at least 6 seconds, 7 seconds
It was crazy.
after they were
Like
saying the
you couldn't
foul
even
happened.
understand how they could possibly have called it on her because she
Yeah,
had been on the ground removed for ages. It made no
right. Yeah.
sense.
At first, it was like the players were, it wasn't even clear what the foul was because it was
Right.
so far
Yeah.
after the shot attempt, so long after the shot attempt. It
Yeah.
just, oh man, that was bad. I
And then
mean,
she picked
somebody
up,
needs to talk to those
I think
officials.
that was her third, and then she picked up a fourth pretty much immediately. So it was just bad.
And the fourth foul was a legit moving
Yeah.
screen, but the third foul was horrible. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's crazy.
as a ref, you just have to, if you miss it, you just have to swallow your whistle and
Right.
say, I missed
And
it.
it wasn't egregious, it wasn't like she
Oh,
hit
they showed the
Howard in the head and
replay.
Howard fell over eventually,
I
and
mean,
then they
if
were
there
like,
was any
oh,
contact, it was minimal
yeah,
contact on the replay. I
yeah,
mean, it was even questionable if it should have been a foul.
right,
But 100%, there should be no whistle 7 seconds after
right,
that any contact. If you miss it, you miss it. You just got to
right.
swallow your whistle as a ref and tell the coach, sorry, I missed it. I mean, that was horrible. Golly. Then one other, what were they thinking? And it'll segue into looking ahead to next week is just the scheduling in the WNBA. I mean, what were they
Yeah.
thinking with
It's really
such an
bad.
unbalanced schedule?
Yeah. It's I don't know. I don't know who makes it. I don't know. I mean, there's some complicated things that, the fans don't think about, like TV contracts and that kind of stuff, but it's pretty bad. Like last night, 4 games happening at 6:30 p.m.
Yeah, all of them at the
Um,
same time. What are you thinking as far as TV viewership?
yeah, and then not having New York and Minnesota play until over halfway through the season is crazy. They had such an intense playoff battles, and then like you want that to be the first or second game of the season
Exactly.
probably, but
Right.
instead, like 2 months later, yeah,
They played once and now they're going to play like three times in 4 games or some
yeah,
crazy
and it just so
stretch like
happens that
that.
Stewie's out injured now, so it doesn't even really give you a good picture of how they stack up this year.
Yeah, well, hopefully Stu will be back for those games for New
Yeah,
York's sake, and you want teams to be healthy, right? I
yeah.
mean, we want Stewie healthy.
And you
We
want to
like
see,
Stewie as a
yeah, you want
player.
to see how they stack up and what adjustments you
Exactly.
need to make. And Cheryl Reeve is a good coach, so it probably benefits them, even if they take a couple losses, to have played them with Stewie for, the coaching staff to be able to make adjustments.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then so looking at the Fever schedule coming up this week is
It's
kind of wrapping
tough.
things up here.
It's
Again,
a road trip.
this kind of a good segue from what were they thinking with the scheduling? Oh my goodness. We got, what
Brutal.
is it, four games in 6 days,
Hmm.
all in different cities. And I mean, three of them
And
are
yeah,
on the road. Well, and if you go back to
yeah,
yesterday,
Friday.
it's like five five games in 7 days or something. I
Yeah.
mean, it's insane.
It is. And it's
Oh,
on the and like travel, it's West Coast, but still you're traveling. So you're in Dallas now. Now you fly out to Seattle, and that's not a short flight.
no, not at all.
Um, and then you play Seattle, then you go to LA. That's probably not too bad. But still, that's
That's
travel.
going to be a few hour flight. It's
Yeah. And then you go to Phoenix, so another day of travel. So
Then you
yeah,
go
just
to back home to Indiana
yeah.
for again
So
just every other,
you're
what is it?
traveling, yeah,
5 games in 8 days in 5 different cities.
exactly. Yeah,
It's
it's
just
crazy.
a terrible stretch. I mean,
And tough teams, so it's going to be hard. This is going to be a rough week. I'm glad that they have the 4 game cushion above 500 there because
Arizona
at Seattle, at LA, who is much improved now that they're getting healthy and getting everyone back. Cam Brink is
and
back.
seems to be a bad matchup for Indiana for
Very,
some
yeah, they
reason.
can't even beat them when they weren't healthy and had everyone. So, because those bigs for LA are tough, and then Kelsey Plum is tough to guard also, but like De'Erica, Azare, those guys are tough. So
Yeah.
that's a tough one. And then at Phoenix, and Phoenix is going to want to get them. So that's
Yeah,
going to
that's
be a
going to be
tough one.
that
That's
looking
potentially 3 losses.
it is.
And then hopefully Chicago is a win at least. But that's after you're
Chicago,
going to be tired. So
hopefully Chicago and Dallas are wins. But
yeah,
yeah, if you could just get probably one of these
one
three
of the three. Yeah.
would be really good. And then
Hmm.
hopefully get Chicago and Dallas's wins after
Hmm.
that.
Yeah.
But yeah, to the scheduling, come on, WNBA. You've got a historic opportunity here. And scheduling, I know there are variables that make it complicated, probably, but this just looks like a terrible schedule for everybody.
Yeah.
And hopefully it'll get better. But yeah, great week for Indiana. Really important to get those wins, get 4 games above 500 before a very difficult week coming up here. Hopefully they can get at least one of those games on the road. Good thing that they won last night at Dallas to start the road trip. If they can get one
Hmm.
more and go 2-2 on this West Coast road trip, that
Yeah.
would be huge, I think. So
I think
just
so.
get one
Yeah.
more game.
Yep.
So, all right. Anything else Fever related?
Mm, I don't think so. I mean, there's no timeline for Caitlin's return. Obviously, that'll be big when it happens. But I would guess she probably won't come back on the road. So maybe um, when they get back home, they'll look to get her in the lineup if she's doing okay. But would hope to see her back sooner than later.
All right. Well, I think that's it for the W Hoops podcast today. Everyone, please be sure to subscribe and leave a comment or review, and we'll see you next week.